Can we bring compassion into everything we do? This is a question as a physician that I never really thought of. When I became the personal physician to His Holiness the Dalai Lama, who's the epitome of compassion, it struck me the opportunity was there to help many. When we are having trouble, compassion is very much needed. But when life is kind of smooth and gliding along, compassion is less needed. Medicine is like this. You know, when you're not sick, you don't need medicine. But when you are sick, you very much need it. Medicine can bring you good health, even can save your life. Compassion is just like that. So let's talk a little bit about compassion. Compassion is something that we feel deeply in our heart. We all have compassion. But it's also something that can be trained. And that's where we kind of enter the picture. Because we're working training tool sets to enhance our compassion that we already have, because we all have some compassion. But we do training programs to enhance that. Now, before we talk about building tool sets for training compassion programs, it's important that we look at the blocks to compassion. Blocks such as getting angry. When you're angry, you can't really have love and compassion. Or getting jealous, same thing. You're wrapped up in your ego, trying to feel better by putting somebody else down. That's the opposite pole of compassion. And arrogance. Arrogance is the opposite of compassion. It's all about me, me, me. When we're arrogant, we feel like we are better than others and we know everything. We don't listen to outside suggestions. Now, let's talk about anger. When we get angry and we get red hot, we can't work with it. So we have to find the early stages of anger. Like when we get frustrated, when we feel stressed out, when we feel tension in our body, feel our heart going boom, 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 sometimes breathing fast. That's when we need to address the anger. And when we notice that, then we apply a method like this, the imaginary cloud. We imagine that our pre-anger stuff transforms into a cloud, and that cloud drifts across the sky and completely dissolves along with our pre-anger. Now, this is guaranteed not to work the first time, because we've been getting angry since we were little kids. Yeah, it's well ingrained. But if you adopt this method and use it again and again, you will reduce your anger. That's what's happened to me. I still get angry, but much less and much less intense. Now let's look at some real-life applications that highlight evidence for compassion. Can we build compassion training programs into high-stress job environments? I feel stressed out. Or through a program such as emotional hygiene or healthy self-confidence. or mindfulness. Healthy self-confidence is learning to put no one down, not ourselves, not the other person. And mindfulness is looking inward in the present moment. What am I feeling? What am I thinking? And working with that, learning methods to transform our negativities into their positive opposites. As I've mentioned, for example, anger into tolerance, jealousy into appreciation, and arrogance into humility. Can we build compassion into artificial intelligence? DeepMind Google, artificial intelligence geniuses, are based in the Google campus in Pancras Square, London. In 2020, they were able to accurately predict the three-dimensional structure of proteins. This is awesome. Can they also be ethical? In 2018, I was invited to DeepMind Google in London, where we discussed important ethical considerations embedding altruistic algorithms into artificial intelligence. They asked a question. They said, if you were to build altruistic algorithms into artificial intelligence for an autonomous vehicle, a selfless driving vehicle, and the following situation were to occur, what would the algorithm decide? And the situation they proposed was, a car is driving in traffic. If it were to keep driving forward, there would be a major accident killing many people. If it were to stop, the same thing would happen. If it were to turn right, 2 elderly people would be killed. If the car would be turned left, 1 child would be killed. And they asked, your ethical algorithm built into this system for the autonomous vehicle, what would it decide in this situation? Well, obviously there are no easy answers. And a lot more has to go in to making these kinds of decisions. But at least to begin to discuss these kind of issues is very, very important. Artificial intelligence now is seeping into every aspect of our life. So we're awaiting these ethical decision-making processes to be embedded in artificial intelligence. Compassion is our natural state. Researchers at the University of Wisconsin-Madison are researching infants, and they're asking the same question. And they posed this kind of research. You have an infant looking at a TV, and in the TV is another infant pushing a ball up the hill. And there's also a third infant in the TV helping. When they observed the infant watching the TV was happy, the infant was relaxed. Then they offered a second scenario, similar to the first, but the third infant was blocking the ball being pushed up the hill. And when they looked at the infant watching the TV was visibly distressed and upset, sitting back with frown on the face. These researchers, along with many others, are now concluding that we come into this world with love and compassion. We have the opportunity, each one of us, to build a practice of compassion, build a personal algorithm of compassion. In order to do this, to start, we have everything that it takes within us.